Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Adil Zaini bin Hamzah, and my group and I would like to present about the concept of organizational change. Okay, our group includes me, Adil Zaini bin Hamzah, Muhammad Irfan Fathi, Nur Aliyah Hanisa, Nur Farah Wahida, Muhammad Farhan, and lastly Nur Putri Zafira. Okay, first of all, let me introduce what is the concept of organizational change. Organizational change refers to the actions in which a company or business alters a major component of its organization, such as its culture, its underlying technologies, or infrastructure that it uses to operate, or its internal process. Change is inevitable in every movement or organization. Some changes are initiated by the organization itself. Otherwise, the organization must learn how to respond and adapt quickly and effectively to the requirements of completely new circumstances. A change in any one of an organization's environment can create difficulties. Of course, there can be difficulties of any changes because there are people or there are some situations where they have resistance to change. As managers or non-managers in the future, we may need to change all or part of an organization. To successfully changing an organization requires knowing on how to manage and deliberately cause change. Okay, as an example, we can see that this COVID-19 pandemic has changed us to be faster, to be better, and surely to be more agile. Okay, and this pandemic has accelerated us, has made us move faster, learn faster, and to be better than before. Okay, as an example, if you guys know Putri Tanjung, Gita Wiryawan, Sandiaga Uno, and Helmi Yahya, all of them are amazingly successful entrepreneurs and billionaires in Indonesia. Okay, what are they doing in this time of COVID-19? They don't just sit and watch their business collapse, but they change their business models to digital. Okay, they made 180 degrees changes for their business to overcome these difficulties that caused by the pandemic, this pandemic. Okay, and the result from the changes are really outstanding. From them, we can learn that changes sometimes force us, and we don't have a chance to refuse. And if we can get through these changes in a good way, benefits of it is surely sweet. Okay, thank you. And I would like to pass the presentation to my counterparts.
Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Farah Wahida binti Muhammad Hausi, and my matrix number is I20104512. And today I would like to present about concept of change. Concept of change in organization change is a movement of an organization from its existing situation to more effective condition. Does not occur impulsively, but takes time to happen gradually. It also happens from time to time and to become a reality that an organization need or have to face it. Next, the change may occur for many reasons, but sometimes the change can also simply beneficial as a new technology that provided something better, more efficiency, and more effectiveness. But the change can also be considered as a threat, which is not anticipated, and an organization is obligated to follow the flow that can maintain its sustainability. However, there are two forms of organization change, which is plain change and unplanned change. For the plain change, is a result that refers from a deliberate decision to alter the organization. It is also of transformation that has been considered with conscious identification of the present situation of the organization. The plain change we can also known as a proactive change. The proactive change is also occurs that when an organization concludes that change is desirable but is not necessary, because it can be more orderly and efficient as planned. Next, lastly, the unplanned change. Unplanned change is imposed on an organization and is often unexpected. Because of that, certain situations may force an organization to change and modify its existing state. By then, economic downfall often urge organizations to change by merging with other companies to stay in business. Next, the unplanned change we can also known as a reactive change that can occur when the forces driving change that provide so much pressure, and it's happened when an organization has no other choice than to change. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Amirah Husna binti Saleh and my matric number I20104444 and 7. I will present about force of change. Force of change have two parts, which is internal and external. Okay. Internal force of change have 3 points. Firstly, strategic change. Okay. Strategic change is change that occur because of transformation in the strategic management of a company will view organization as being different and no longer feel the same about the organization. Different leaders will bring different management styles, and this transition will bring dissatisfaction to workers if not well explained to them. Secondly, cultural change is people do not like to be asked to do something opposite of what they have doing previously. For example, when the computer were introduced, many of the older generation are willing to undergo this change from using the typewriter to learning how to use the computer. Third, needs and values. Okay, needs and values is many of the employees are leaning on more towards quality of life and less towards financial rewards. The initiation of flexible working hours, compressed work week, and childcare facilities have been very important for organization to consider. External force have 6. I will explain you one by one. Okay, firstly, workforce diversification. Workforce diversification is the difference of background, education, language skills, personality, preference, expectation, and work roles among employees. In the context of the workplace, valuing the diversity means creating a workplace that respects a workplace that respect and include difference, also creating a work environment that maximize the potential of all employees. Human resource policies and practice have to change in order to maintain a harmonious relationship among all the members of a diverse workforce. Secondly, technology. The transition from manpower to more computer control has increasingly enhanced the division of authority. Decision making is decentralized, and this change leads the organization to be much flatter. Communication becomes more open as technology change, as there will be no more barriers to meeting the boss. Third, competition from globalization. This is described a process by which regional economies, societies, and cultures have become integrated through a global network of communication, transformation, and trade. It increased the flow of goods, service, people, real capital, and money across national borders, in order to create a more integrated and independent world economy. Fourth, social trends. Social trends is evolution in social trends suggest that organization change. There have been clear change is belief about marriage and divorce. For example, since more prefer to stay single longer, the demand for fast food increased tremendously as well. Okay, next, economic shocks. Unexpected pattern of global economic change leads many business to bankruptcy. Economic problems lead to uncertainty, and if organizations are prepared for unplanned change, major breakdowns will occur. For example, when oil price went down, many oil service companies went insolvent. 6. World politics. A nation political stability is an important factor to determine the efficiency of a business. Constant change in the ruling government, riots, or major political downturn affect organization greatly. For example, change in world politics, such as the increasing power of China and India due to the opening of markets, will lead major organizations to divert their business from the west to the east. This leads to transition of power and control that previously has been monopolized by the Western countries.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. I will continue the presentation with the change process. So in change process, we talk a lot about how we are going to change the undesired traits to the desired traits. Okay, one of the model that we are going to talk about the change process is Lewin's three-step model, and then we are going to talk about Kotter's change model, and then the change growth. So we have three. Okay, for the Lewin's three-step model, we have exactly three steps. Okay, for the step one is unfreezing current situations. So step one is unfreezing. Unfreezing that we are talking about is how we are encouraging individual to let go or to abandon their old behaviors. So one of the way that we can use to help them to change their old behavior is we can use change agents to create urgency by increasing driving forces. The driving forces that we are talking about is the pushing factors for the employees for them to get out from the comfort zone. Like as we know, it is not easy to just get out from our comfort zone. We need that energy and to get ready to face the risk of changing. So another way that we can use is reduce the restraint force, which is we can reduce the change resistance. There are a lot of approaches for the change resistance, but my friend will continue to talk about the about the change resistance later. Okay. For the step 2, after we unfreeze our old behavior, and then we are going to start about the transformation process. So the step 2 is changing towards desired situations. Changing itself is a transformation process. So the transformation process that we are going to look at is we are going to substitute new attitudes, new value and behaviors and more. So as an example, the change agent can make the employees to see the new options or the better options that we can use. And then they can explain to the employees about the rationale of the change. So the change agent can provide trainings for the employees so that they can develop new skills. New skills are always needed to make the process change successful. So they need to develop new skills. Okay, for the step 3, after we unfreeze the old behaviors and then we transform to new one, and then we are going to step 3, which is refreeze. Step 3 is refreezing change situations to sustain desired states. Refreezing, what we are talking about refreezing is we are going to stick to the new attitudes, new value, new behaviors. This is the way that we are going to create the new status quo for the employees. So in stabilizing the situation, it is not easy, as we can see a lot of companies that just don't change because they are not willing to accept the change. They just, or at least they just accept the change for a few times, not for the long-term acceptance. So in this way that we are going to make the employees to accept the change in the long term, they have to experience the positive consequences of this change itself. Okay. Next, we are going to talk about the Kotter's change model. So we can say Kotter's change model as the more comprehensive model because it has 8 steps, so it is more detailed, as you can see. Kotter's change model is kind of similar to the previous one, which is Lewin's 3-step model. The step 1, as we can see, the previous one is we are going to talk about 3 steps: unfreezing, and then changing, and then refreezing. So in this new model, in this Kotter's change model, we are going to use the same concept. So for the step 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be the unfreezing step, and then step 5, 6, and 7 will be the changing process, and then the step 8, which is the last one, will be the freezing step. Okay, so firstly we are going to talk about the unfreezing step. Okay, for the unfreezing step, of course, like I said, it is required step 1, 2, 3, and 4. So for step 1, firstly we have to create urgency. The urgency that we are talking about is the initial motivation for everyone to keep moving. Okay, of course, everything that we are going to do involve everyone. Everyone need to want that thing, want the same desire. So it is easier to make the change success. So one of the way that we can ensure that the employee have gained the motivation of moving forward or make the change is the boss can talk about the increased competition or their decreasing sales, and of course other than that they can talk about what is new in the marketplace or what way they can do in fitting in the new marketplace nowadays. So after we create the urgency around the people, the second step is form a powerful coalition. Okay, a leader has to grab support from key people, which is influential people. So as we know, in an organization, people trust more to the influential people. So the change agent can find an effective change leader that actually want that change and want everyone to have that kind of energy to change. That someone can find and bring together a team of that influential people to gain support from them, so they can the influential people can also build urgency instead of the only people that want that change. Okay, after someone want that change and after influential people support that someone to have that change, then we can do the third step, which is create a vision for change. Okay, a change agent can help everyone to understand about the vision of our change. People don't want to do the things that they can see, so the change agent or the change leader can help them understand and know better and can see the overall vision of the change, so people can remember it and actually can try to accept it when they understand about that thing. Okay, and then the last step of unfreezing is communicate the vision. So the change agents don't have to only talk about the vision in any special occasion or in any special meeting. They can actually talk about it every time that they have the chance, so that everyone can have that kind same of energy and understand. So also the change agents can demonstrate the new behaviors or new attitudes that they want to lead, so everyone will know about the benefit of the change. Okay, next, for the movement phase. will require step 5, 6, and 7. Okay, let's see about the step 5. Is remove obstacles. So in process of changing, the change agent, when they're talking about the vision, there are always the resistance, which is as an example as the people that actually resist the change or and don't want the change. So the change agent should always check for the barriers so that they can lead easier to the success of change. Okay, next for the step 6 is create short-term wins. As one said, nothing motivates more than success. Other than planning for the long-term success, the boss can also create the smaller targets that achievable so that everyone can see that things are working, that the change that they are doing is giving good benefits for them. So the change agent can also project the result of the success, so this thing will motivate them to make the change work. Okay, and then the last step for the movement is build the change. Okay, after we remove the obstacles and then create short-term wins, we should always keep looking for the improvement, which is like when we are removing obstacles, when we are doing the wins things, we can actually have the opportunity to build what is right, what is wrong. So when we know what is right, what is wrong, so we can actually do the right thing more and more, and then the wrong thing we can actually improve and find a new way to make things work. Okay, so the last step is revising, which is step 8. Step 8 is anchor changes in corporate culture. Okay, in this thing, we have to have continuous efforts to ensure that the change is seen by all the employees. So if everyone can see that this change is making things good, so this change will keep at a solid place. So any company leaders also can continue the support of the change so that this change will work. If this change is not success, then the risk of getting back to the starting point is high. So, and then that's all for the quarters change model. And then we are going to talk about the change curve, the last one. So the change curve is more to explain the grieving process when the change occurs, more about the reaction of people when we are talking about the change or when we are demonstrating the change itself. So the change curve displays 4 stages that most people go through in adjusting to change. Okay, for stage 1, as you can see, stage 1 is in status quo, in the status quo state, which is the same current situation that we are having without any change. Okay, their reactions is in shock and denial because they are looking at something new that they never have seen, so they are shocked. Okay, so after they are shocked and then they get to the reality and then they just realize that this thing is real, that the people are talking about this thing of change process. So the stage two will will be a disruption state. So most people will react this negatively because they have never seen this, so they can't see the benefits. So they will be afraid of the impact. Also, some of them will feel angry because they think that maybe their position will be threatened, so they will protest the change. So stage three will be exploration. Direction will be acceptance. This is because after a long time of denial, but people keep doing that, and so they will start to think and stop focusing on what they lost. So they start to see what people gain. Um, so after they see that people gain something actually, so they try to accept the change. So they will start exploring, they will start testing the change and find what is good, what is bad, and try to adapt to it. Okay, for the last stage is stage 4, which is the stage of rebuilding. So directions is commitment. This is when they just accept this at stage 3, so they will start to embrace the change because they can actually start to see the benefit of the change, and then they will rebuild the ways of working, and then they will start to stick to it because they can see the benefit.
Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Irfan Fathi bin Muhammad Shafi'i. Today I will present about costs and benefits of change. So, they had 3 points here, and the first point is physical cost and head. When the change is implemented, some employees are unable to handle the change and begin experiencing health problems. The symptoms like headache, back strains, and stiffness in the neck that indicate the change that has occurred is affecting employees negatively. It will give the effect to well-being of the employees and eventually their health will deteriorate. The second point is physical cost and promotion and transfer. Despite getting promoted or being transferred to be a better location due to a good performance, this change can sometimes lead to stress faced by the employees. This is due to the time that is needed to adjust to the new skills, lifestyle, or workplace. Even the surrounding new place can create anxiety which contributes to stress. Although seemingly positive, it may create negative effect and it will affect the overall well-being of the employee. Physical costs and employees relocation. Relocation of employees can be due to many reasons. Some relocation happens because of lack of resources and others may be due to new business venture. Relocation will require more time for adjustment as well as getting settled with the new place and people. Some employees undergo relocations easily, but many times need for adjustment and getting to know people gearing up. Thus, change in relocating employees can be costly for the organization as well as the employees too. Resistance to change. They had 3 points for resistance to change. The first point is logical resistance. The second point is physiological resistance. And the third point is sociological resistance. Last point is sociological resistance. It is refers to the reason that given based on interest of a group and group values such as a political coalition. Contradiction of group values and the need to maintain friendships are. The second point is physiological resistance. Physiological resistance refers to reason given based on emotional sentiments and attitudes in humans. Examples like feeling afraid to unable to learn new things, insecurities or mistrust of others. But sometimes employees have to face the scenarios where they are fear to new situation that change because they feel afraid and are unwilling to move out of their comfort zone. Okay, the last one is sociological resistance. It is refers to the reason that given based on interest of a group and a group values such as political coalition, contradiction of group values, and the need to maintain friendship, also the harmonious relationship among existing employees. For instance, employees may resist change because their work group resists the change and not due to any personal reason.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ali Anissa binti Muhammad. My ID matrix is I20104523. So I'm gonna presenting about managing resistance to change. There are 6 approaches for organizations to consider in managing resistance to change. First is education and communication. It is educating the employees on the importance of the change. It is done through face-to-face discussion and the usage of mass presentation. Also to make the employees acknowledge the logic and reasons why change is necessary. Where there is a lack of information and analysis, once pursued, people will often help with implementation of the change. But if not, it will be very time-consuming if lots of people are involved. Next is participation and involvement. It is using the participative and consultative method just to contribute more ideas and solutions. And employees will be more receptive and adaptive. Where the enactors do not have all the information they need to design the change, and where others have considerable power to resist. People who participate will be committed to implementing change, and any relevant information they have will be integrated into the change plan. But if not, it will be very consuming if participants design and incorporated change. Third is facilitation and support. It will take a personal interest in the needs of employees and accepts individual differences. Be supportive, listen to workers' complaints and distractions, provide the assistance and training. Where people are resisting because of HMS problem, no other approach works as well with HMS problem. So if not, it will be expensive and will fail always. Fourth method is negotiation and agreement. The change agent will engage the employees in a discussion on actual and potential resistance. There will be extra incentive and some assurance will be given to employees. Where some group will clearly lose out in a change, and when that group has considered power to resist, sometimes it is a relatively easy way to avoid major resistance. But if not, it will be too expensive in many cases if it leads other to negotiable for compliance. Next is manipulation and cooptation. Influencing selected resistors so as to withdraw them from continuous building resistance among other employees, providing information and organizing events, manipulates the resistor to hold authority in events, and make change the chain instead of being the resistor. Where other tactics will not work or are too expensive, it can be a relatively quick and inexpensive solution to resistance problems. But if not, the future problems if people feel manipulated can lead. Lastly is explicit and implicit coercion. Using the autocratic approach, the change agent will centralize authority, dictate work method, make unilateral decisions, and limit employee participation. They will use their power to make the employees accept the change. Where speed is essential and the change initiators possess considerable power, it is speedy and can overcome any kind of resistance. But if not, it will be risky if it leaves people mad at their initiators.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Farhan bin Ma'yani and my matrix number is I201-04515. Now I will present to you a case study of this topic. The title of this case study is Predictable Change. After World War II, Japanese car makers faced an era of disruption in the automotive industry. The car makers' production teams found it difficult to purchase components as there were financial issues due to the aftermath of World War II. On the other hand, American automotive manufacturers such as Ford and General Motors were taking full advantage to gain the world market share. In order to keep pace with Western rivals, Toyota realized that they had to do something immediately. The action that was to be taken needed to be low cost as the company was still recovering from the effect of the war. Realizing this, Taichi Ono, who was an engineer at Toyota, convinced the top management team to implement the just-in-time approach. He suggests that the company needed to adopt this strategy as it will reduce costs while production still runs smoothly if all works as planned. The just-in-time approach suggests that supplies should reach the production area only when it is ready to be used. This not only helps the organization reduce the order and storing costs of the heavy machinery and equipment, but Toyota will not have to waste money, time, and energy dealing with supplies that is not needed immediately. Additionally, more spare cash in hand will be useful for the organization to pursue other ventures and opportunities. No inventory will be tied up or stored unnecessarily until it is used. Toyota agreed to adopt the idea by Ono. Although it was done over a period of time, it immediately showed significant results and brought Toyota to where it is at present. So the question for this case study is, the first one is, how did the change proposed by Taiji Ono assist Toyota in re-establishing its business after World War II? First one, Taiji Ono changed their layout to eliminate unnecessary transportation distances. And the second one, he introduced a system that allows them to order the necessary materials effectively. He also automate production system and reduce human intervention. And next, he tests and train material supplies to ensure quality and on-time delivery. And the last one, he provide appropriate training to their employees to include change in their processes. The second question is, why do you think the change was done over a period of time and not immediately? In my opinion, the change was made over a period of time and not immediately, as the company faced small markets, low demand, reduced manufacturing space, high costs for inventory, and especially a lot of waste. This causes Toyota to waste resources, waste time, and waste inventory. Taiji Ono also noticed this. And he began to develop a just-in-time philosophy. With the just-in-time manufacturing approach, resources are used just as needed. Thus, inventory is kept low, the transportation process is optimized to reduce waste time and cost, and installation lines are optimized in such a way as to eliminate any unnecessary costs.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. With me again, okay, for the summary. To conclude, organizational change is the movement of an organization from its existing situation, from the square one, to a more effective and efficient condition. Change is also known as an alteration of an organization's environment, structure, technology, and of course people. There are two forms of organizational change, which are planned change and unplanned change. Planned change is also known as a proactive change, and unplanned change known as reactive change. Okay, next, the forces that drive the changes can be external or internal. The external forces include workforce diversification, and technology, competition, and globalization. In this world today, we can't close ourselves or our country to globalization, okay, because everything now is just on the tip of the fingers. So we are open to everything. And other than that, social trends, economic shocks, and even world politics. World politics, we can see the example like happening today in Malaysia, in America, and every parts of the world. We can see that world politics have made a lot of changes, a chaos to their countries and the entrepreneurs that running in the countries. The internal forces can be verified as strategic changes, needs, and values, and not to be forgotten, cultural changes. Okay, Kurt Lewin's change model has emphasized that effective change occurs by three conditions. The first one is unfreezing current situations. Secondly is changing towards desired situation. And lastly, the refreezing stage. Refreezing change situation towards to sustain the desired states. Okay, next, there is Cotter's change model that is more comprehensive than Kurt Lewin's. Okay, Cotter's change model have 8 sequential steps. Steps 1 to 4 focus on Lewin's freezing stage. Steps 5 to 7 represent the movement stage, while the 8th step illustrates the refreezing stage. In a change depicts by an organization, indeedly there are costs and benefits. The costs and benefits of change include psychic costs and health, psychic costs and promotion and transfer, and also psychic costs and employees relocation. Okay, other than that, change resistance is the symptom of restraining forces. In general, people exhibit 3 types of resistance to change. For instance, logical resistance, sociological resistance, and psychological resistance. Last but not least, there are 6 approaches that are used to administer or to overcome change resistance. Okay, because today we cannot run away from any changes. We have to change. We have to be mobile to succeed in this pandemic. And even if we are not facing a pandemic, we need to make changes in a better and effective way. Okay, there are education. Okay, these 6 steps of how to manage resistance or how to overcome the resistance. The first one is most important: education and communication, participation and involvement, facilitation and support, negotiation and agreement. Okay, then manipulation and co-optation, and not to forget, there are explicit and implicit coercion. Okay, that's all everyone. Thank you for lending me your ears. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.